First of all, I wish to thank you, Rob, and all the colleagues from the Dialogue Project for the invitation and the good opportunity to share experience with you and to make a contribution to your discussion. Yes, as Rob said, I come from the German Institute for Adult Education, and the German translation of this title leads to the abbreviation DIE, and I will speak of DIE as, and the institute is meant. What I was asked was to give some information on my institution concerning enhancing the dialogue between research and practice, and to give some information on developments in Germany which might be good or yes, a good example to promote the dialogue between research and practice. And so I will try to do so. Yes, and I try. Yes. I began working in the German Institute for Adult Education in 2001, and the institute then was a bit different from today, but not so much different. And I learned that this institute is unique in Germany because it's the only institute which covers all questions concerning all institutional fields in adult education and professional practice. And it's very it has a long tradition. The DIE had a predecessor which was founded in 1957 on policy driven and with the mission to make professional practice in adult education more research-based, more scientifically based. And in 1997, the German Institute was funded as an follower of, or the following institution of this. The DIE is an extramural research institute which serves as a partner for all institutions in adult education in Germany, vocational training, general education, and also university lifelong learning. And it has, as you can see, a twofold mission. It's on the one hand we do research, and on the other hand we are a service. We do services for adult education practice. Our research activities contribute to the development and networking of adult education, and this national and international. We are or the DIE is a research institute which is mainly with the main purpose to improve adult education in Germany, but the international perspective is very important in the DIE. Yes, and it's an institute which with a socio-political focus, and this is a little bit different from research and services done in universities because we are in a way normative biased. That means that the research which is done in our institute is should enhance, promote the development and the advancement of adult education in order to improve personal involvement, social participation, and employability for the adult population in Germany. We don't have the liberties universities have in their research Our projects, we select the projects with this mission in mind. There's a short glimpse at the DIE. The DIE is one of 86 member institutes of the Leibniz-Gemeinschaft in Germany. This is a known research association as Max Planck Association or Fraunhofer Association. These are associations more in the technical field, and the Leibniz-Gemeinschaft is more a general science orientated research association. And the DIE was founded, as I said, in 1997 as an association, and it functions in this way. It's funded, and we have the privileged situation to be funded by the government as an extramural research institute, and this allows us to build up an infrastructure which does not only serve our research, but also the services we do. I will come to that later. At the moment, or in 2011, the number of staff members was 76, but this is not a real number, because there are many colleagues, especially in the Department of Research and Development, who are working on projects, and so the number of researchers changes according to the projects we are able to work on. Yes, and as you can see, the number of staff in research and development and in data and information services was very good in 2011, because it was half 50%. And this is something which refers to our twofold mission. But we always have we strive to hold this position in this context. As you also can see, is that the DIE has a relatively high number of staff members in administration and supporting facilities, and this has from an organizational development background, or this isn't this could be a negative point, but regarding the things we do in the DIE, it becomes clear, because we do many things concerning networking and yes, enhancing the dialogue between research and practice. And so you need supporting facilities and technical administrators and so on. Yes, and this is just a selection of things we do in the DIE to enhance, to promote the dialogue between research and practice in the field of adult education and lifelong learning. Besides, we run a library, which is good. In a rather large library, and we do a lot of counseling and services and workshops on demand for practice, mostly for practice in Germany. Yes, the first example selected here is the annual forum on adult education and continuing education, and this is really an event, an annual event, where people from the adult education sector and policymakers and researchers from the universities come together, and they discuss on central questions concerning the development and future of adult education, and it's always about 100 to 150 persons coming together there discussing in work groups and in plenary sessions. And the second example is the Innovation Press. It was it's not so usual, or when the prize was founded, it was not so usual that adult education is something that can be awarded. Yes, in the DIE this prize was developed, and now it's every 2 years there is an award given to innovative adult education institutions on different subjects, where it's subjects such as quality management or working or continuing education, I think, in later life, and we had all these subjects. And what is interesting with the Innovation Prize is that the examples which are highlighted as best practice in German adult education, they are selected by a jury of professors, research institutes, and expert institutes in adult education. And the Innovation Prize in 2011, which is the picture here, we had, for instance, Arne Carlsen in the jury, and Katarina Popovic, very known people from international organizations. Yes, what we do also are publications. We have established an infrastructure to give researchers and practitioners as researchers the chance to bring their works into the public. And the publications we do are with authors from the DIE, but also from other institutions. And what is or what should be interesting here concerning the dialogue is a series of publications we do. This is a series of self-study materials for students and professional practitioners in adult and continuing education. And this has a long tradition in the DIE. First, in the 70s, in the precedent organization, the colleagues started to develop self-study materials on questions professional practice or professional practitioners need. And the self-study materials were concerned with questions of managing adult education institutions, questions of doing good teaching and learning, and so on. And and now it's a series of books where authors, experts, researchers, experts from universities, and as well experienced practitioners come together and work on different subjects. The publications are disseminated also in universities, and so it's a little bit a circle between practitioners' knowledge and university academic research within this special series. Yes, and the other thing is that we try to do guest professorships, to invite professors to tell us what's going on. Bernie Brady was with us last year, 2 years ago, I think. Yes, and so we in the DIE, as my colleagues and we learn a lot of what is going on in other European institutions in research and in adult education. On the other hand, there are some of my colleagues and myself who are in universities, and so this is one of my this is part of my job in the DIE, to do lectures at universities and or teaching assignments. And so we have we have here the exchange of knowledge. Yes, these are just selected examples. And concerning the conception of research, this is a little bit a difficult question, because originally the DIE is an institute which is mainly a service institute, and now we are a part of the modernization of the research system in Germany. Universities and all the other institutions, research institutions, they are obliged to become more scientific, more basic research, more research which is systematically, and so we are at the moment in our institute, we are in a deep discussion on our research concept, and this is the first, or this is our what we think is our mission, to initiate use-inspired research in the DIE, use-inspired basic research. And this is a concept which refers to our to the research association we're in, the Leibniz-Gemeinschaft. This is the conception of research which Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz had in his mind when he worked scientifically a few hundred years ago. Theoria cum praxi, this Latin word, means doing research which benefits humankind. And this is our self-understanding as researchers. This means bridging basic research and applied research. Doing research which combines different understandings of science, so, scientific excellence, but also social relevance. It's just to mediate between these different points of reference of research. And yes, there are two tasks we have within this concept. The one is developing and implementing research which benefits especially the adult learner. This means that when we develop research questions and research designs, we have to take in mind what is this research, what does it mean for the learner, and what should be reached to serve or to improve learning in adult and continuing education. And we should produce research-based knowledge which serves the improvement of professional practice too. And so this is, we emphasize this because it, in a way, it differs a bit from from university basic research. This is use-inspired, as said, and in universities in Germany, the research is often and by mission also a research which is or which refers to an understanding of science and research which is reflexive, organized, and we are more in the functional way. We understand research more in the functional way. Yes, what does it practically, on the practical level, this implies that we try to involve all the groups which or stakeholders which should have an interest in our research from the beginning. Discovering research question means to involve the groups from practitioners and also researchers from universities, and to communicate what are the needs for research. And we do a close cooperation with universities and education institutions and experts during the projects. Most projects we conduct in the DIE are in this organization or in networks. So, for instance, we try where possible to establish advisory boards with user groups. And so the whole research process is embedded in a network communication. In the ideal case, this is not always the case, but most often we have this networking in doing research. Now, as I said in the beginning, that the research in the DIE refers to all institutional adult education institutions, and so university lifelong learning is only one field where we work, but it's a field becoming more important in the last years. And these are three projects which can be, or where the DIE is involved in. Already in 2004 to 2005, there was initiated by our directory, Eckhard Nüssel, there was a Leonardo project, and this is dealt with the development of a European Master of Adult Education. And this European Master of Adult Education is a distance learning degree program, and it was developed and with support of the DIE and evaluated by the DIE. And it's a relatively rather successful program which is run today at the Technical University of Kaiserslautern. And a second project is a rather small project. It's an evaluation of a pilot program. It's a open university in Lower Saxony, and this was an evaluation which I had the opportunity to do, but only on as desktop analysis. And the third is where we stand, or is the current project I'm working in. It's called Opening Higher Education to Adult, and it deals with innovative developments in university lifelong learning programs and degrees, and the core of this project are 20 case studies from 15 European countries and 5 non-European countries. And at the moment we are about to finalize the final report and analyzing the case studies. And it's very interesting to see how university lifelong learning develops in the different countries. And yes, in a few months I think I could tell you the results. Do I have time, or? It's okay. It's just yes, prepared. This is what we do in the DIE. What's going on in Germany? I was asked also to give some examples. How can the dialogue between research and practice can be improved? And yes, there are many schedules and suggestions which I could give, but I thought it would be best to show what could be good practice examples from Germany. And I will draw on examples from this pilot program, Open Universities, in Lower Saxony. And the background are the two central questions for your dialogue project. How can the link between research and practice can be strengthened, and how can the link between research and practice and the exchange be organized? These are two, I think, two different questions, and a little bit. And I try to find examples which could give an answer to these questions. What we know from the pilot program in Lower Saxony, but also from the HEAD project, is that strengthening the link between research and practice is nothing which can be done instantly. It needs a background facilitating factors. You need a sort of context in which the link between research and practice becomes important. And I think that, yes, strengthening the link means also to have a look at these facilitating factors and probably to work on these factors. What we know is that they especially in university lifelong learning, the examples I draw on later are from this continuing university education and lifelong learning at universities. And what we know is that the Bologna process and the developments also in the European Union in the adult learning policy, they are or have created a context where the link between research and practice can be is more relevant than before, and the development in universities, which is going on at the moment, driven by policy, but also by other actors. Thinking of the paper of Green Mission, Third Mission of the universities, they all bring together they all bring up a new role of universities, and this means also university research and university teaching. And so this is a very good condition to strengthen the links between research and practice. In Germany, but I think in other countries too, these developments have led to the fact that cooperation between universities also and stakeholders from outside, from economy, employers, and educational institutions at a regional level have become more intensive, and that yes, universities and researchers as well as practitioners, they work on the assessment of common interests and goals. What can we do together to improve learning? And yes, what has increased is the recognition of specific responsibilities and capacities of the partners in research and practice. And a very good condition to strengthen the link is just to work on concrete research and development projects. And your project or this project, dialogue project, as well as what you do at the Strathclyde University. I think it's all this in a way to say what are our relevant groups, with whom do we have to find common interests, and I think you all come from institutions where this is going on. Yes, and the same is going on in Germany, perhaps not in this dynamic way as in other countries, but there are some advanced examples from universities and from this pilot program I told you. An example which I find is very good to show that it is possible in public universities to build up good conditions, regional cooperations, assessing common interests, and developing concrete projects in cooperation between university university research and practice is a project which was initiated by the Karl von Ossietzky University in Oldenburg, a rather young university founded in the 70s, and with a clear mission to foster university continuing education and to work together with the regional partners. And so this university has this university is also rather advanced in developing programs, degree programs, but also certificates for adult students, non-traditional students in the lifelong learning. What is interesting about this project Community of Learners is that here the different partners, learners from university, research and practice come together to build up together a lifelong learning program. And what is here the case is that this project is supported also by local industry, by a regional bank, by one of the major employers in the region, and this is a very good condition to make or to strengthen the cooperation also between research and practice. If you got employers and or if it's possible to interest them. And the other interesting thing is that this is a program for students and trainees from firms learning, preparing their studies, and doing this as well in the university in Oldenburg, but part of the program is also a study or training abroad, and so the university cooperates also transnational with enterprises at the time in Liverpool, and the students and trainees which are together in this program, they prepare their study and their trainee program abroad together, and they come to the firms in Liverpool and which are hosting these groups of students and trainees for a time, and so there is a very close research and practice link because research or university becomes here or the participants of this program, they become or they learn research-based knowledge. This is on the one hand a part of their program, and on the other hand they get to know this link between research and practice. What does it mean if we talk about economy and law in a very theoretical way, and how does it function in practice? And so this project is on the teaching and learning level, implies a very close research and practice link, and also on the institutional level, because this project is evaluated. There are more research projects surrounding this program, and so on. And this goes back to the results of research. They go back to this pilot project. The other questions is how organizing the exchange between university, lifelong learning, research and practice, and also here are facilitating factors. If universities understand their role as regional actors, if there are common interests of policy making, universities, this is a very good condition, and if educational networks have been established, this is also a good condition to organize exchange and to improve exchange between research and practice. And what is one central result of the evaluation of the pilot program, Open Universities in Lower Saxony, was that there should be a service center for all the universities engaged in university lifelong learning and engaged in innovation process concerning also concerning degree programs for non-traditional students. And and this is great, because what the evaluation showed is now a reality. The service center has been established just a few weeks ago, and it will do service tasks to improve this development in Lower Saxony and to get more universities into this research practice dialogue. And this is for perhaps an example for institutionalization, the research practice relationship, because here in this service center there are are people from the adult education sector, concerned with professional practice, as well as universities, as well as experts in university lifelong learning, and also policy makers. And so it's a very complex, it's not complex what the people do here, but the structure is so that all stakeholders can come together, and information and research and development can be improved by this service center. Yes, what should be, or what could be questions for the future, or perspectives to further development of the research and practice dialogue is, I think that there are a few points, agreements between policy making and universities, especially on this is the field university lifelong learning. But if there are agreements to do research in order to improve practice, or and to develop more programs for non-traditionals, for instance, this is one of a central requirement. establishing regional networks to improve and to exchange experiences between researchers and practitioners is another point, and a future perspective to improve the and to see where are regional networks already, which can be used and improved and further developed. What is, I think, also relevant if we talk about research and practice and the relationship is perhaps to work more together with a regional economy. And to involve the regional stakeholders in the development of continuous education programs and provisions, including research on this development. Yes, and what has been shown by the pilot project in Lower Saxony is that the institutionalization of support structures is very important, also to to build a culture. You said it before, a culture to change the culture in universities, but as well in practice. Sometimes there is skepticism against university research, and so the support structures are very important. And the last one, yes, we have good experiences with the award, and you too, I know you said it in the beginning. And so, yes, I can imagine that there will be sometime awards of good practice and research relation in Europe or in some countries. So thank you for your attention.